Hello, good evening, and welcome back to JACKOCAR. It is the Kia series on a Tuesday night with me, Gareth Hall, in the commentary box once again for the 5th round of the season as we enter the second half of the regular season here and we head to the streets of the Principality. It is Monte Carlo for the Monaco Grand Prix, and let's just say those of you that are cultured in a bit of classical music, if you would like to play a little bit of Ride of the Valkyries or perhaps even some Carmina Burana in the background, I think that's what we're going to be having as our soundtrack tonight, as the chaos is due to start very, very shortly. It's the 5th round and we are getting ready for what is hopefully going to be another pretty epic Grand Prix. Looking forward to this one. I said last week that I think it's going to be about 4 finishes. Of course, these guys running simulation damage, and I will tell you all about it because I've got plenty of time before quali starts. We are under the night sky here, everyone a little bit sleepy-eyed, I'm sure, having to just get everything set up, but we'll just make sure everyone's ready to go. No cars on track until the 11-minute 15 mark, so we've got plenty of time to have a quick chat, have a quick catch-up. How are you all doing? Good to see the guys chatting away in the chat before the race. Good to see Thomas in the comments. If you are watching, let us know who you're supporting, where you're watching, if you are on the grid, what you're expecting from tonight. Always good to hear you chatting away in the comments. Always does help out the stream as well. Of course, if you are watching, make sure you drop a like on the video. Really does help us out. I know I'm just sounding like a shill YouTube weeb, but really does help the league grow when it comes to bringing in new people, new eyes to the league, and trying to expose them to what it is, as Jacko says, the best league out there. It really does throw up changes, does throw up the best results, whether that be Kia, or of course whether that be Cup. But let's get down to business. Let's have a quick catch up from what's happened so far this season and also what's coming up tonight. So tonight is the 5th round of the season, the 5th round of the regular season. Just 3 rounds left to go of the regular season after tonight. That is Jeddah, Austin and Spielberg at the A1 ring, Red Bull ring. There we go. That shows how old I am. So we are here at Monte Carlo on the streets of Monaco for a 3.3 kilometre, that's just a shad over 2 mile long circuit, shortest on the F1 calendar. Distance turn 1, it's only a meagre 210 metres, just over 0.1 of a mile, with the longest straight being this sort of semi-straight from the exit of Anthony Oaks down to turn 1 at Sandoval. That is 510 metres long. Top speed is around about 183 miles an hour. You can get that on the way down into the Nouvelle chicane, but we're not expecting these guys to be going too hard, too fast tonight. Of course, it's all about keeping everything attached to your car, all the wheels and all of the carbon fibre. It's about full throttle, 50% of the lap, give or take. And we know fuel consumption here can be pretty low. So we've seen cars especially go for an underfuel and perhaps even run out of fuel come the end of the race if there are no safety cars. Safety cars are supposedly pretty common here, but we've seen in Monaco it seems to have a little bit of an issue. It doesn't tend to like bringing out the safety cars, but ERS demands here medium. You can recover pretty easily around here if you're careful with it, but of course gear changes 48 over the lap distance. That makes over 50% race. 3,744, one of the highest of the season. These guys really working the shifter pedals tonight. Great to see you all coming in. Hopefully you're all well and you're joining us for what is set to be a fantastic race tonight. We will have the likes of Yuri, Jess, Jacko, Leroy, Jake, Quinn, Rageman, or otherwise known as Robin, Matt, Sully, Bazza and Jamie out on circuit. So a smaller grid tonight. We've got a couple of people that are too scared to race around Monaco, a couple of people that are out sick or injured, and a couple of others that perhaps... There we go, and there is OKK. Thankfully he's managed to join us. He was just doing the game update which has come out, but of course not updated half of the stuff that needs fixing. So once again, GG for that, but I'm sure we'll all be delighted with our new podium emotes. Pit lane around here, as we've got a lovely look of it. There's nothing happening. Everyone just sitting very quietly on their hands in the stands. You can see to the right hand side of the circle. If you look just to the top tier of that stand, there's one guy in blue sitting right next to the stairs. He's very excited. You can see him punching the air. There he is. Arms up. He's absolutely delighted with this no action. I'm sure he'll be one of those people that Ross Brawn says likes to have a chat instead of listening to some V8s or V10s scream their way around a circuit. So We do look at the pit lane. It's about 22 seconds for a pit stop around here. It's a 301 metre long circuit, pit lane, sorry. So pit stops, it feeds out into T1. It can be a bit dangerous if you come out and someone's coming up alongside you. However, it is pretty much one of those circuits where qualifying is pretty much the session you need to be involved in the most. You want to make sure you nail a lap around here, because that can pretty much affect how your race goes. Although we do note that, as I said, safety cars might come out. We might see, of course, damage come into play. It's simulation damage here in JACKOCAR, and that will affect how the race goes for several people around here. Watch out for turn 3. Now, turn 3 here is Massenet. It's at the top of the hill. It's actually a little bit off camber. It goes off to the left. It's very easy to watch the back end go around on you, and you head into Casino Square backwards. We've seen cars spin up there, and effectively that is a blind corner for anyone coming up the hill. So the exit of Saint-Devote, making your way up past the flats at Beau Rivage and into Massenet, and Massenet and into Casino can unsettle the car. We see plenty of wings go missing, especially on the exit of Casino down into Mirabeau. And then, of course, you're heading all the way down to the Grand Hotel, as it's known as now, the Lowe's hairpin, as we've seen in the past. All the way through into Mirabeau Bar, into Portier, as we go under the tunnel, through what is now a longer tunnel compared to what it was originally, down into the Nouvelle Chicane at 10 and 11, into the very quick turn 12 at Tabac. Then we go through the swimming pool section at 13, 14, 15 and 16, into Rascasse and out of Anthony Nogues and across the line. Expecting pole here to be a relatively quick one tonight, around a 1 minute or high 1:10 or to mid 1:11. I'm imagining. I'm sure I'll be proved wrong otherwise, but well, what have we got from last week? So from last week, some stewards to report in. Kaya, he's missing tonight. He'll be also taking a race ban next week in Saudi Arabia after not playing friendly last time out. As here we go, we've got Bazza heading out circuit. We've got a quali ban for Quinn. So Quinn taking a wrap across the knuckles for his part in the crash at turn 1 or lap 1 that effectively ruined Kingan's race. So he'll be sitting out quali tonight. And Jake took a 30-second time penalty, which didn't really affect his race too much. He reset to track, did not accept the DSQ that he would have unfortunately suffered as Bazza out on circuit. Looking very nice under the lights, these cars, and hopefully everyone's gone for a gloss or a metallic look with their liveries tonight, because it really does shine much nicer with the lights, as we've seen in the night sky, like the likes of Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. But Baz will be the first one out there. He'll be going around, and Baz he's had a bit of a middling season so far. It's not really been where he's wanted to be. It's probably been back to the rear 2/3, the grid. He's only got an average quality result of 10.75 and race result of 9.5. That shows you that he's kind of sitting there at the back end of the top 10. So definitely for a former multi-time race winner in Bazza, he's going to be wanting to improve on what's been a bit of a rubbish season so far. But he's going into the swim pool section, just trying to get some temperature into his eyes. Bazza, you've left your battery on full for this one, so you're going to have lost about 30% of your battery. So hopefully that won't hamper you too much come the end of this one. But let's start off by taking us round for a lap here. We'll go on board with Bazza, as we're going to flat out. Here we go, DRS wide open, as we're going to send it down towards turn 1 at Saint-Devote. You want to turn in, but enough to cut the corner, but not too deep to go out too wide and clip the wall. Lovely. Now send it up the hill through Beau Rivage. Here's that kink at turn 2, under and into this, but as I said, tricky Massenet. Don't want to hit that curb too much, because it will send you offline in towards Casino Square. Down the hill, missed the drain cover on the left hand side, now down into Mirabeau Ho, and down through the exit of the turn right, down into what is now the Grand Hotel hairpin, the Lowe's hairpin. Oh, very deep there from Bazza, a little bit too much speed taken in as he goes through the exit of Mirabeau, and now down into Portier, which will set you up for the blast down through the tunnel in towards the Nouvelle Chicane. So here's effectively turn 9. And we're running down into the Nouvelle Chicane. brake hard, turn left, try and cut as much of this chicane as possible. A little bit too deep once again from Bazza as he gets on the throttle a lot later. He's now down to 14% battery, so this is hurting him. He's just kept out of the wall. Slight graze there as he's going to run through the swimming pool, and he's going to go deep. He's going to have to get off the throttle, and unfortunately for Bazza, that's going to cost him a heap of time in through the exit of Raskas. Keep it away from the wall to not clip the back end, and into Anthony Noakes to set yourself up for another spell of DRS, and to set an original time around about 1:14. It's going to be a 1:14.696 for Bazza. On board to Jacko now. So what's Jacko doing? Jacko's currently heading his way through the tunnel. Now Mr. Ricketts has told me that he's looking forward to this one. He said he reckons he can be up there in the top part of the race, and in fact he said he's going full guns blazing in qualifying. So let's see what Jacko's got. Jacko's another one that's kind of sitting in the bottom half of the standings. He's not had a great season. He unfortunately, it just didn't work for him last time out in Spa. He was running the Joker, but unfortunately a late safety car kind of hampered everything that worked for him, so he dropped down, managed to recover well. But what can Jacko do as he exits the final corner? DRS is wide open. You can see the gap in the post box there. It's a 1:13.1 for Jacko, so 1.5 seconds faster than Bazza. However, expecting the times to fall on that. Quinn, of course, is retired. He is due to sit out quality, of course, as he's got this ban. There we go. Not quite sure about that ban still exists. I'll talk about it every single week. And there we go. Lesty's joined as well. Good to see Lesty. He is joined a couple of the guys struggling with the update that has come out today. But into the first corner, here we go. Let's go on board with Rageman. I say go on board. Let's watch Rageman instead of going on board as we see him flying up the hill through Beau Rivage and into Massenet. Does he take a nice line here? You want to keep it to open up this corner into Casino. He has to scrub off a little bit of speed and doesn't move over too far. Of course, what you can do is you can effectively kink around to the right hand side of that what is a drain cover, but they've not modelled it in the game. But if you go over the top of it, the car does almost lose a little bit of grounding for a second, so it can unsettle the back end, which is why we see guys on, especially on no traction, suffer around there. So as Matt Lester said, that he's had no practice, so oh well, what's the worst that can happen? But here we go, Rageman and Robin, who's actually having a really good season. Very impressive in his debut season here. He's only, well, I say that, he's DNF'd twice, but the races that he has finished on is a third and a fifth. So he's got a overall quali average of 5 or 5.5. And out of the two races, 3.5. But of course, that has involved 2 DNFs. So what can Rageman do? It looks as though it's going to be around about a 12. It's going to be a 12.335. So comfortably head of Jacko. We'll go down now to OKK. Here we go. It's still not letting me do scrolling across. There we go. Oh, okay. As we go on board with the ART Schleifer as he makes his way into the Lowe's hairpin and shows off for the guys that have paid upwards of €12,000 for a night to stay in that hotel over the race weekend. But unfortunately for OKK, that's going to hurt. So let's go to the Joker. Let's go to Leroy and running a pretty well done DC Joker livery there. And, well, he's going to catch up to one of the cars out on outlap, so hopefully they'll get out of his way. But Leroy, well, he's having a stellar season. He'll be very, very happy indeed. Pole position back in the Netherlands. Of course, the race win in Spa on his Joker. He'll be delighted of how it's going. But what can he do in this one as the Dutchman, of course, younger brother to Yuri, who we'll see out on circuit very, very shortly, as he keeps it around and just kisses the arm car on the exit, but he's going flat out. He's making sure, and there we go, just has to lift a little bit as he goes over the bumps, and you really want to kind of keep it full throttle around there and just lift off very, very gently. But does look as though it's going to be a quick lap. Is it going to be into the 11s? It is. It's going to be 11.3. A good lap there from Leroy, so he'll be delighted with that one. That puts him on pole position by over a second. Newgarden's on a lap. Sully is just starting. OKK is out there. Unfortunately, looks as though he might have actually clipped the wall in his out lap, so he's going to have to do the full lap with no wing, so he'll be going to the back. Is we've got Newgarden on track, and Newgarden running the updated McLaren livery, which does look nice. Of course, that sort of maroony purpley sort of colour they've gone for. Newgarden up to the line. It's going to be about a 12, a high 12. There we go, 12.6. That's not bad from Newgarden. I think he'll be happy with that because he's maybe not had the season that he was after so far as well. Because a couple of the speed drivers, Sully's another one that's kind of been there or thereabouts. It's not really been a season to write home about so far. And Newgarden is actually... Newgarden's actually up there with, 9.75 as an average qualifying result, and 9.25 as finishing. Was Sully, there we go, it's a little bit more committed from Sully around through the exit of the swimming pool, goes very deep into Raskas, so it's going to cost a couple of tenths of a second. Now into Anthony Nogues, DRS is going to be open. He saved up a little bit of battery. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. Sully goes off onto the front row, but still a second off of Leroy, showing you how good Leroy's lap has been. Lesty, what can he do? He said he's had no practice. Well, he's going to have invalidated turn 1, so he'll be starting from the back of the grid. So Matt Lester, no practice, and perhaps took a little bit of a brave entry into turn 1 at Sandevot, and it's cost him the chance of a good qualifying result. We know that quali's not been his strong point, but Lesty's actually leading the way quite comfortably in most positions gained from the start of the race to the end of the race. He's actually made up over the season, over the first 4 races, 24 positions. And the closest behind that is a net 12, and I believe that sits with Yuri. So yeah, Yuri sits on 12, Lesty doubled that on 24. There we go, Jake, who said he's confident around here, feels good. He's running a new livery tonight, which does look good, the black, the purple and the red. Making his way through the tunnel, what do we see from Jake? And of course he's another one of those that's having to perhaps learn some new assists or lack of assists over the next few weeks to get ready for the post-season. And, well, he's got the pace to do it, but what can he do around the streets of Monaco? It's actually quite an easy circuit to do less assists on, because you don't really need them around here. There's no real traction zones that you need to worry about. So there's a little bit of a clip there, and that's going to put him in the wall. Almost. He just about gets away with it. So Jake, a little bit of a scruffy ending to this one. It's still going to be about a 13. It's a 12.6, so it's not bad. Puts him on the second row currently. But... yeah, not the lap he was perhaps hoping for. Splinter now. This is a former race winner here. In fact, last time we were here, he was the race winner. Took it ahead of ART Connor on penalties. Connor picking up a 5-second time penalty in that race, where the race result ended up being Splinter and then Connor, who of course now Cup Series driver, and myself in P3. So Splinter, no stranger to the... as he kicks the rear end out. Now Splinter is one running no assist, and there you go, there's the flare as he kicks out the rear end on the exit Anthony Nogues, and that's going to hurt him, because that's definitely cost him the 0.3 of a second that possibly would have put him on the front row. So unfortunately him. Yuri, that is lovely. The gold, the red and the white, that does look nice. That's I'm always trying to think what that looks like. It's almost that sort of golden-esque Jordan that we saw in like the late 90s before it went to the Buzzing Hornets bright yellow, or maybe was it the 96 season roughly. But yeah, nice look there from Yuri running this livery tonight. And down in towards the Novell chicane. And what can Yuri do? Now we know that he's got some solid pace underneath him. He thinks he can easily do a 10. So we'll see what he can do as he takes the back very nicely indeed. Just runs along the exit through the swimming pool section, bumps over. Nice, doesn't have to take off too much speed, doesn't get off the throttle too much, into Raskas, carrying the speed, which is good. Take a wide entry to get it tucked in, kicks the rear end out a little bit, but that's a good lap, and it's going to be a 10. Here we go. It's just outside. It's an 11.0. Puts in provisional pole position. And with only one other driver out on circuit, it looks as though Yuri has got a big task to be overhauled, because Jess is out on circuit. And Jess, who is having an absolutely brilliant season, leading the championship so far. And she, I'm sure, wouldn't think this late into the season that she would be last out in qualifying. But here we go. Jess up to the line. It's going to be about a 12, which isn't going to be a bad lap time. So it's a 12.960. It puts her in P8, which is nothing to worry about too much, because of course you are still in the middle of the pack. And I say, this is why it might not be so quick. Look at the rain starting to fall as well, so not helpful if you're Jess, perhaps just thinking it's going to get a little bit greasier out there. But she does go ahead of Jacko, and of course Bazza was the last one to set a time. Lesty Quinn with no time, and a KK invalidated, and also ended up with no front wing, as I'm sure Michael will be thinking, oh God, not again, because well, I'm just looking through Okake's results here, and I see a P15 start to a DNF was his first race of the season in Australia, and it's a P13 start, and it's well, let's just say hopefully it goes more positive for the league admin himself. So well, we've got a race coming up very, very shortly. We'll go straight to the race after this. No formation lap, of course, they still haven't fixed it. So GG Codemasters for that. Which gives us time to talk about how the race is going to go for everyone else. I'd imagine the likes of Yuri will be very happy, as once again it's a Haselager 1-2. Yuri on pole, 0.2 of a second faster than his younger brother in P2. Sully with a good lap to put himself in P3 with Rageman P4. Jake in P5. Splinter P6 with Newgarden P7. Jess goes P8. Jacko in 9. And Bazza round down the top 10. Lesty, Quinn and OKK are your 13 involved in this one. Usually a 16-car grid. We're missing 3 guys tonight, so only 13. I said I reckon we might have 4 finishers, so I'm really hoping everyone proves me wrong and that I actually have someone to talk about over the next 45 minutes or so. It's a 39 lap race, I think. Roughly, it always used to be a 39 lap race. I'll double check in a second. We'll find out very, very shortly. But yeah, it's gonna hopefully these guys make sure it's one to remember. No jokers tonight. So if you are new to JACKOCAR, and I will explain it to you all. JACKOCAR is a hybrid league. It is a hybrid between F1 and NASCAR. So we run a regular season, a postseason with a Championship 5. We get 1 or 20 points for a victory, 15 and descending from second all the way down to any other car that finishes. Then we have stage points. So we have a stage point tonight for 2 stages during the race. Let me just double check what they are and I'll come back to you. But we also then have an extra playoff point for fastest lap. Playoff point has gone to Yuri for the pole position as well. And well, these guys will be accumulating not only points to go towards the regular season, but of course playoff points will give you an extra boost when starting the post-season, which will happen in about a month's time. So they will be wanting to not only pick up as a very quick start from this one, as we go down to 30 seconds already. So these guys will all be thinking long game tonight. These drivers all running simulation damage, some running no TC, some running medium TC, and everyone adrenaline will be absolutely coursing through their veins now as they get ready to head down towards Sandoval to start us off for round 5 of the JACKOCAR Kia Series. Myself, Gareth Hall, on commentary for this one. It is a Haselager 1-2. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lights out. And it's a good start from Yuri. It's not a great start there from behind from Leroy's already dropped down into P3, P4. And here we go. Who makes it through? Oh, we've got Jess around already and on the exit of turn 1. And that's that's Leroy into the side of Jake. Oh, he's been collected. He's been collected by Lesty, who's just about got away with it. So there's Jake out the race already. Is that a safety car? Surely that's going to bring out something. But we go in through the exit. Well, obviously it's not blocked anyone else, but well, a messy start. Quinn picks up 5 seconds speed for allowing people through. We've got chaos at the start of this one, but what has happened is Yuri leading away. But well, messy start from a number of drivers out there. But what we do see is already a 1.4 second lead for Yuri Sully, and it's a speed 1, 2, 3 with Newgarden making up a brilliant start to make it, as he starts on the mediums as well. So I'm having to do everything all at the same time. I will try and keep up with you, but here we go. We've got a yellow in the tunnel. Is that for Jacko? It's Jacko at the back that's got caught out in something as well. So we'll go in an early penalty for Quinn, of course, for that yellow flag. And oh, it's a puncture for Jacko on the medium tyres as well. That's really not what he wanted. Splinter, 5 second time penalty, speeding in the pit lane. You're barely doing 12 miles an hour going round Raskas. How have you sped into the pit lane? But here we go into the box to try and get away. Of course, it's a mandatory 2-stop for everyone tonight. So Splinter and Lesty into a box early. So they're going to go for a medium hard strategy, I would imagine. Jess stays out. She was spun around at Team 1. We've got Jacko at the back. He's yet to make his way into the pit box, and he's going to do that really slow roll now. This is it's so painful as it rolls you in at 12 miles an hour for no reason. But it is still Yuri leading away now, 2.3 seconds. He is already dominating this one. Sully Newgarden would be delighted with that. A current podium finish. Rageman in P4, Quinn up to P5, but with that penalty, Jess is on the exit, just coming into Portier now. She's got Bazza chasing her down, who's equally got OKK on his case, but a lot of split strategies here. So we've got some mediums for Newgarden, mediums for Bazza, and of course mediums now for Splinter, Lesty and Leroy. Hards for Jacko, so Jacko's going very deep into this one. I'd imagine, as across the Novo chicane goes Bazza. But Jacko, if I was him, I'd run to the end of this one and strap a set of softs on the very last as Speed Sully goes faster, 1.7 down to Yuri now. So as DRS is now enabled, into the box comes Quinn. He's going to serve that 5-second time penalty. Do we see anyone else make an early pit stop? It looks as though everyone's going to try and stick it out and perhaps wait for a little bit later on. No safety car, of course. We've lost Jake. He was collected by Lesty going up the hill into turn 1. He was turned around with Leroy. So Leroy with a bad start dropped down to P4. Looks as though he tried to go up the hill through Beau Rivage and unfortunately going around. So it's now OKK closest on the circuit to the car in front as he's hunting down Bazza. And, hunting down in Monaco is a tepid way of hunting down. You tend to just sit behind someone. Bazza's going to go deep and kind of rubs the wall. So OKK will have the advantage on tyres. Of course, he's on the softs. You've got Bazza ahead on the medium, so he's going to have a slight advantage on grip. But all yellow, we've got into the wall. Is that Quinn? It is. Quinn into the wall, and that's a missing front right end plate. Jacko's going to come from behind him very, very quickly. It's gone green, so the LED light board's on the side. So Jacko on those new hard tyres, and Quinn, that's going to hurt. Quinn on brand new hard, straight out of the box, and unfortunately, you've really got to bring these up to temperature, and going flat out just doesn't work. You need to bring these tyres in very, very gently, especially around Monaco. Is what I found is it takes around 4 laps for the hards to kind of get into a nice working temperature. And unfortunately for Quinn, it looks as though he's going to be doing at least another 2 stops. You need to have all of the front wing of your car attached for this one, because the likes of Beau Rivage, the likes of Massenet down through the exit of Tabac, any sort of missing air winglets or anything like that tends to cause chaos. And as Leroy fastest, 1:14.1. So he's currently holding on to that 1 point to go on to his playoff tally. And, we've already got a bit of a spread. So sit back and grab yourself a drink. We'll chat our way through this one, won't we? Lap 4 of 39, so we've got about 40 minutes to go. And it is Sully now leading, because Yuri's already made a stop, so I missed that one, so I apologise. I did see that he came into the box but didn't go on board. But an early stop there from Yuri, who's decided to go off of the soft tyres onto the mediums, and he's going to run, I imagine, until about perhaps around about the lap or high teens, and then onto a set of hards and run the hards to the end. That seems the smartest strategy to do. I do like that livery, Yuri. You've done very well with that one. But he's being chased by Jess. She's 4.3 seconds behind. Now we've got OKK. Sorry, that was a bit of flicking. I don't like flicking. OKK getting it wrong on the exit of Saint-Devote. And that's cost him 0.3 of a second or so. But into Massenet and through the exit of Casino, and you can see that OKK is actually a lot faster than Bazza, and Bazza slightly erratic through the exit of or down the hill into Mirabeau, but OKK just not quite close enough to make a move. And we've already got time penalties, as I said, for Splinter, who's going to have to serve that when he comes in, and Bazza, who's already picked up 1-4. Is that a time penalty? It is a time penalty, so it's a 3-second time penalty, not a 5-second time penalty. So that one will be added on at the end of the race. There you go. You can see stops have been made for our race or net race leader. Splinter, Lesty, Leroy, Jacko and Quinn has made 2 and is about to be 3. Don't retire, Quinn. It is points for everyone and 12 places. Oh, is clipping the wall goes Bazza. But yeah, I did say to everyone before this one I would call out anyone that retires in the pit lane, because 12 positions gives you decent amount of points in the championship, and for Quinn, points is really what he needs at the moment. So 12th place would give you 5 championship points, and with the end of the regular season coming, Quinn needs them. So no retiring in the pit lane from anyone tonight, please. And there you go, OKK. You can see just he's got so much more confidence on the tyres. Bazza into the wall. Oh, OKK almost into the wall as well. We've got Quinn on the exit of Sandoval going slow to allow through. I believe that might have been our race leader. So already that might have been Quinn going a lap down. Let's double check. So up ahead of him, it could be anyone. Oh, it was Leroy. There you go, it was Leroy. My apologies. The trying to look at the different coloured dots, but it's gone for a white for Leroy, even though I'd call it a purple as his main colour. But Leroy down in 10th position. He won't be happy at all. Let's go back up to the only battle we've got is OKK, who's now got a Splinter joining him for company. So Bazza has clearly been in the wars. He's been clipping walls left and right. And does he come into the box? Yes, he does. And that's going to release OKK, but unfortunately for OKK, he's released him now with Splinter all over the back of him. So Jamie Bromley, who's already been a race winner here in Kia, when we raced here, what was over a year ago actually. So it's been quite a bit of time since the last time we were here. It was back in September 14th, I believe it was, in 2021 in season 2. So that shows you just how long it's been. Yeah, September 14th, 392 days ago, round 2 of season 2. So the last time that Splinter raced at Monaco, he's still on the top spec. Now he's got to do a little bit of work if he's to do that tonight. He's just been Mr. Consistent so far this season. He's just made sure that he's been in the right place at the right time, but he wants to clear OKK. OKK yet to make a stop. Splinter, of course, has made 1, but well, you've got to think at the moment it's the likes of Sully and Newgarden that have got a little bit of work to do. Rageman, so Robin into the box out of P3, so he's going to get rid of those tyres early. And there we go. Onto a set of hards goes Robin. Yuri now passes him and will comfortably be, 9 seconds ahead when, actually no, it's going to be comfortably more than that. So there we go. He'll be happy as Leroy starting to hound the back of Lesty as Quinn retires at the swimming pool. Oh, Quinn, there we go. Where's that going to be? We'll see if we'll go on board with Jacko. We've got a yellow, and this is what I was afraid of. There's some debris, and there's Jacko coming around the corner. And luckily, he's just got away with it. But there is some debris in the middle of the circuit. So if you're listening, anyone out there that's racing, watch out for the entry to the swimming pool chicane. There's a little bit of front wing there. And then, of course, there's a car. Yellow flags are out. It should be double waved. As just about missing him goes the 2 leaders. And once again, no safety car. I do believe there's an issue around Monaco at the moment. The safety car just does not want to come out. Yellow flag still out for the car. It's now gone green. And we can now back up to racing speed. Yeah, it's been an issue, and unfortunately for these guys, it might mean that we sit a little bit spread out for quite a bit, because the safety car just doesn't tend to come out, which is a shame. Oh, across the chicane goes Lesty, and that's going to open the door. And he's already expelled his entire battery, just about clipping the entry barrier to Tobacco. That's about as close as you want to get. But goes Leroy. Now, does he think about a move going into Raskas? He's going to go wide. That's going to give him a tighter turn in going into Anthony Noakes. But, of course, Leslie is going to hold the position. And he's going to make it hard, as already out of battery as both of them. And down to almost 0 goes Leroy. And you can recover it. And he's going to go side by side. This is brave, because Leslie needs to give him room. But he's not going to. And he doesn't need to either. But, yeah, Leroy frustratedly sitting behind. He's now going to get the inside as Lesty comes across to try and block it. Who's going to go later on the brakes? It's going to be Lesty, but he's going to go deep now into the hairpin. Do we see Leroy thinking about the inside? He thought about it for a moment there, but thinking better of it. And this is where you just need to recover. Just keep your head a little bit, because Lesty is he's going so defensive that at some point he will make a mistake. And that's not me saying that Matt Lester can't drive, but when you're under so much pressure, you just tend to brake a little bit later. You tend to make some mistakes in your line, and that's all you need to do as the car behind you. You don't want to force the move, because especially around here, it's not ideal. So Lesty now making his way through. We'll see how much are we taking time off. As you can see, very, very careful for the exit of the swimming pool. Leroy having to, right, we can almost, well, he's getting quite a nice sample of the engine oil coming out of the back of that the exhaust of that car in front. As you can see, the heat haze, you're that close. Sparks being kicked up from the under tray as we go up the hill once again. Lesty going wide, and it's going to allow Leroy to go up the hill. He's got the battery. It's down to 1%. This is going to be brave, because he's going to have to go around the outside. There's going to be contact. Is he into the wall? He is into the wall. We go bang, 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 and unfortunately it looks as though both cars are into the wall and just about come away unscathed with their front wings intact. In fact, no, they don't, because Lesty was missing a left-hand end plate, so that might have been why he was running a little bit slower in that one. So Leroy now up into P5, up in what is currently the lead of the race. It is Newgarden versus Sully, so the two speed drivers being hunted down by Yuri, who is now comfortably a net race leader and winning this one at a canter. I did say that he was the should have been pretty much the crowd favourite, and Sully's going to let him go. So Sully lets Newgarden through. Sully's tyres clearly not playing ball, and he's going to let his teammate go to perhaps utilise that mediums a little bit longer. So it's a strategy around here. If you're going to go medium, soft, then you really do have to look after the tyres, if that's what Newgarden's going to be doing. Sully, 10 laps on the softs. Might be safe to go onto a set of hards now and run and then do a very short stint on the softs at the end. As that's a great camera shot there with that lovely F1 22 banner that isn't there in real life, just blocks the exit of the Nouvelle chicane. Here we go. You can see Sully really suffering on those tyres. Surely he'll be into the box at the end of this lap. But what we will do whilst that's happening is we will go down on board. Yeah, he does come into the box. So we'll go on board with Rageman, because Rageman is now sitting behind OKK, and OKK is sitting behind Jess. Jess on the hard tyres that she went on to 3 laps ago. So these guys all engage in combat, all on, slightly different strategies. Rageman and OKK running similar strategies. Rageman 0.6 of a second, OKK 0.8 of a second, and gaining as we go in, closing in on P6. And Jess, who is, as I said, having the season of her life here in JACKOCAR on the Kia series. She's currently sitting P1 in the standings, a race win back in Australia, and of course she currently sits with one of the best qualifying and race average, a race average finish of 4.75. She's gained 6 positions from the start to the end of the races over the course of the season so far. So just keep doing what you're doing. And Jess, she's transitioned over to medium traction from full traction. Oh, that's going to be a cut from Rageman. You don't want to take that too much on, because you will be picking up 3-second time penalties. But yeah, Jess just doing what she needs to do just to pick up the points and get herself. She's already, of course, qualified for the playoffs. And, well, she's quite happy sitting here and frustrating the 2 guys behind. So I'm sure OKK, who is now, in fact, we'll just double check with OKK, because he's dropped back a little bit. Is he now just going into defence mode? Because it looks as though he's dropped back 1.4 seconds off the back of Jess. So is he now starting to nurse the car a little? Because you can see Rageman really starting to push. And on the battery through the tunnel, all the way through the tunnel, is he going to think about a lunge going into the hairpin, into the chicane, sorry, and he does. OKK being very courteous with the space and let him come through, but that's going to promote Rageman up into P7, so Robin up into a P7, OKK down to P8. Of course, OKK started last in 13th due to invalidating his lap during qualifying, and the German driver running the what looks like the Sebastian Vettel style helmet. is currently now up into P7 and can now go after Jess. So yeah, into the box comes OKK. We'll just double check to make sure if this is a wing change. Yeah, there you go. You can see they're readying up a new wing for OKK. So it's into the box for him. So that's his mandatories done, I believe, and onto a set of hard tyres to go to the end. So Rageman closing in now on Jess. Now, what does Jess do here? Because Jess does think about the long game. She does think about the championship. Does she think about letting Rageman go because he's clearly on quicker tyres? Or does she fight for position, knowing that when she makes her stops later on in the race, that this position could effectively, if she's kept him behind, effectively keeps him on the same strategy. So, Jess, pull out the defensive skills. What have you got? Don't let him go if you don't need to. I'm sure we know they've been in a party before. I'm sure Rageman will be saying, let me go. Yeah, you should definitely let me go. And the answer is no. You keep him behind. As you can see, he takes a quick look into back. I mean, you would literally be a crazy person to think about moving to back like that. In the swimming pool section, and you can see Rageman's got so much more confidence on these tyres. He's going to have the grip, especially 4-lap old mediums compared to the hards. Although Jess has only done 5 laps, like I said, it does have a window. But here we go, DRS and battery. He's going to try and look to the outside. Jess is kind of the inside going into Sandevot, but she pulls out early, and just Rageman is got it in and through Sandevot without clipping the wall, which is good. Promotes him up into P5, Jess down to P6, and Jacko now 4.8 seconds behind and on a bit of a recovery drive. So let's have a look at where let's have a look at Yuri, in fact, for a few laps. And Yuri, of course, what is effectively the race leader. Newgarden has yet to make a stop. He is the only one yet to make a stop, so he's definitely going aggressive with his strategy, definitely going for a medium double soft stint. Yuri 5.5 seconds behind, has to make another one. So for Yuri, it's all about now just preservation of your car, preservation of your front wing, of your tyres. Just he's got a 13.5 second advantage over his teammate in Sully. Splinter 16.5 seconds back from him. So really, I mean, if we just look at the not even the interval, if we look at the gaps to the leader, you can see there effectively Yuri's got a 30-second time advantage over Splinter, and then what almost 50-second advantage over Rageman. So Yuri for Cup, Yuri for another Kia Series Championship. Well, I did say he'd be washed if he didn't win tonight, and he was definitely feeling the hurt a little bit in VSL when he didn't take pole position, and he's now got behind him. He's got what looks like is that OKK. It is OKK. There's closing in on him on the new hard tyres, but of course now a lap down. So. Into the box comes, it's Jacko being overtaken by Leroy. So Leroy now up past Jacko, so those two trading positions. Jacko running quite a nice muted livery there with like sort of the off gold silvery and then a very classic maroon colour as well. That's quite nice. Quite like that indeed, and these guys clearly going out to do some more classic styled liveries around one of the more iconic circuits in F1, the jewel in the crown that is the F1, as they say. And well, they often say that no one should race at Monaco anymore, it's boring, but well, we'll make it fun. We do what we can, and so let's find out as we go back down to intervals for you. Well, you can see the gaps are starting to form between plenty of people, as there goes Lesty past Bazza. So Bazza allows Lesty to go. Bazza, who is once again, he's just a little bit tentative through the exits on these corners, just thinking about, I imagine, just thinking about the long game, thinking about perhaps just picking up some points, because it is something that he's struggled with so far this season. But now Leroy cruising up to the back of Jess, and this is happening pretty quickly. So what's Jess going to do with Leroy behind? Jess wanting to effectively preserve her place at the top of the standings. Leroy is very much fast charging behind for that. She's currently sitting there and has qualified for the playoffs. Of course, if you take a victory in the regular season, you qualify automatically, and that's been Jess, Yuri, Jake and Leroy. So we've had 4 race winners in 4 races. Leroy thinking about a move there. Does he send it down the inside? Not quite. Jess does very nicely indeed, just to hold him off. And here we go, down the inside. She's going to let him go. She does indeed, but and Leroy does nicely indeed, but without battery, so he's going to need to go on a little bit of battery recovery mode now, because he wants to save up a little bit if he's got on the attack for the likes of Rageman up in front. But Leroy on the warpath a little bit after that incident in turn 1 and turn 2 with Jake that saw the end of Jake. And of course we've already seen Jake W. Combs, a race winner back of the French Grand Prix at round 2. He lost a rear tyre collected by one of the cars making their way up the hill. And Speed Quinn, well, it was a shocking race for Quinn once again, just not what he wants. And if you take a victory, you get into the playoffs here. And as I said, 3 races left to go after this one. We go to Jeddah for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix next time around. Then we go over to Austin, and of course Spielberg at the Red Bull Ring finishes out the regular season before we head to the playoffs. So whilst we've got some time, I will quickly explain JACKOCAR to you. So JACKOCAR was created by Mr. Jack Ricketts himself. He came up with the idea of a hybrid league between F1 and NASCAR. His let's say his one true love. And Mr. Ricketts came up with the idea of having this league where the rules would be different. Everyone drove different. It was all in liveries created to that own person's desire. There we go. We'll get a word out eventually. So we've now got a league structure where you have a regular season. You go through your regular season here in Kia. It is 8 races long. You go into the post-season if you qualify. So if you're in the top 8 in the championship, you qualify for it's called the post-season. The bottom 8, as it is a 16-car grid usually, the bottom 8 will go into what is called the chase. So at the final race of the season, we have, as Leroy tries to close in on Rageman, the championship 5. So the top 4 at the end of the playoffs, and the winner of the 8, or one of the 8 that didn't make it into the playoffs, will go into what is called the Championship 5. Then only one of those 5 drivers can win the overall championship. So you have a regular season champion and an overall champion. And, well, it's the overall championship that everyone wants, as Leroy is shaping up a move on Rageman. Does he think about it? Not this time. So we'll just quickly change that for you so you can all see what tyres are like, as Leroy thinking Jess might that Rageman might do. Oh yes, he almost got on the into the wall, and that's going to be a big hit there for Rageman, and across the try to avoid him, but they both did exactly the same thing. A big snap from Rageman into the wall, and he's lucky to have got away with that unscathed. I say unscathed with all 4 tyres still attached to his car. So into the box goes Rageman. That's a real shame for him. We're on lap 19 of 39, and that's now Leroy up into P4. So let's see, as it's a new nose cone. I say new nose, it's not a new nose cone, it's only a front wing. We're not allowed to model nose cones braking. Apparently they're made out of titanium, just are completely unbreakable. But where does Lesty come out in all of this? Because Rageman's now exiting the pit lane. He's going to filter out with what is the race leader coming up just behind him. So we've got Yuri coming up behind Rageman to lap him. So for Rageman, that's not ideal. Blue flags are already out. He's going to have to let Yuri go. He's pushing too hard on the hards. As I said earlier with Quinn, you can't push these tyres too quick, too early. You have to bring them into the window. But that is now Rageman a lap down. So Newgarden still yet to pit, still working on that medium soft strategy. But you know what? It's still going to have him in what is currently is P3 after his first stop. But he's going to have to work hard on those second set of mediums, because Leroy will be going to the end. So work to do from multiple drivers, and still things to talk about, which is good. 1 lap 20 of 39. We're over halfway through this one. It is a long race. It's a short lap. It's the shortest circuit on the calendar, but it's still quite a long race. It's a long time to concentrate, especially if you're Leroy, and especially if you're Yuri. Sorry, I'm sure they'll chastise me for getting them mixed up there. But behind, we've still got. Here we go into the box. So finally into the box comes Newgarden, and there we go. A set of the red striped soft tyres will go on. Those tyres don't look too bad at all. He's looked after them, but on goes straight out of the box. Straight out the tyre blankets goes the soft rubber. So where does Newgarden come out? He's going to come out behind Sully, but not too far behind Sully. And then behind we've got into the box comes Bazza. So Bazza making a stop. Is that for a new nose? Is not. So it's just, this is his second stop. So stops all done for Bazza. He can make his way out on circuit. We've got... Oh, who's that stopped out on circuit? It's OKK. Is that OKK? I believe... Oh, it is. Sorry, apologies. I've missed that. Yeah, there's the carcass, unfortunately, for OKK, so I was flicking. Shouldn't flick. But, well, that's going to be cleared. And once again, no safety car. So, into the wall goes Rage Man. Almost did a Sergio Perez, but yeah, as I said, no safety car. It's you really can't underfuel your car around here because it's for some reason it just doesn't bring out a safety car. Monaco, I'm sure they've decided that they just don't want to bring out safety cars in Monaco because who wants to have excitement, eh? Who wants to close everyone up? But Splinter is now closing up on Jess. Don't worry, I understand I'm only halfway through explaining what JACKOCAR is. I'll go back to it. You'll have to stick with me. I will make it exciting. Splinter now closing on Jess. Two cars that look quite similar. So I'll have to just say the pink one and the yellow one. But here we go. Is he closing in as Splinter running, of course, orange and pink, his daughter's favourite colours. He's always run these two colours. And... closing on Jess, and as I said, Jess just doing her thing, just staying out of trouble. And I know that she will want to let them go and just do her own thing. But she's down in 6th position. She's now on the same strategy as a couple of these other guys, and she needs to be making sure she's holding. Because you want to be coming out and qualifying as late as possible, regardless of if you've qualified for the playoff or not, because effectively it's a bit of a mind game for everyone else. You want to be leading, and for Jess, this is probably the deepest into a season she's ever led a championship, and with Splinter now DRS assisted, battery assisted, he's got plenty of battery. Jess is going to go middle of the circuit. What does Splinter do? He's going to go around the outside. Jess gives him the position, and he's managed to keep it clean through Sandoval and up through Beauvais. So that's now Splinter up into a P6. Into the box comes our race leader, Yuri. He's going to go on to a set of soft tyres. That's a long way to go on soft tyres, or is he going to go a set of hards? Yeah, good choice. Set of hards. Take it 17 laps. Did think that a set of softs from here would be a little bit too far. But that's going to demote Yuri now down into P3. But don't worry, the other two up ahead have still got to make their second stops, and he's only 3.5 seconds behind Nugan. So Yuri, look after these tyres. They take 3 laps to get into a temperature window. Very, very easy, especially someone that I believe is still running no traction. To get it wrong, you can see, listen how much he's going to feather this throttle around this lap. And we'll just go on board with him, so no pressure, Yuri. Let's just make sure you get this right. This is like Crofty when he turns down the microphone and said, let's just listen in on the engine sound of this V6 whirring, like it's something we want to listen to. But of course I love listening to Yuri. Great guy. But here we go, down into the Nouvelle chicane. Yeah, it's nicely done. You can see he's got these tyres up into a semi-working temperature. You just don't want to push them too early. They're very temperamental, the hard tyres, across pretty much all races. He's still got the sheen on the outside, which I'm surprised with, because that goes pretty much into the first corner. So looking after them is Mr. Hasselager. Into Anthony Noakes to start lap 25 is your net race leader. We've got Speed Sully, Speed Nugal, and Speed White Racer. It is Leroy in P4 making it Speed 1, 2, 3, 4. Jacko in P5, who is on the recovery after, unfortunately, a puncture on lap 1, picking up some debris. And Jacko will be gutted with that because it was a race he was looking forward to. He said he loves it around here. He's really not having a season to remember. He's currently sitting 13 points under the cut-off line, so looking as though the chase may be his destination. But here we go. Newgarden now closing in on Newgarden is closing in on Sully, so I was just about to work out what these two are doing, because of course still both to make a stop. However, this is effectively a fight for position. So what does Sully do? Because Sully let Newgarden go first time around. Does he let him go this time around? I wouldn't. I know he's your teammate. I know they're both sitting in a party together, but this is a fight for position. So they're both going to go onto the set of softs at the end of this one. So this is really the close one. Not only is it the closest battle we've got on circuit, this is the fight for the podium. This is the fight for P2 and P3. Leroy, 29 seconds behind them. Who is also 29 seconds behind Yuri, who's 6 seconds behind this lot. So these two still sitting in a comfortable podium position, as you can see, taking the conventional line around the drain. As it's a pretty good result for speed if this is the case, but what would be a best result of the season for both of them? So I'm sure they'll both be pretty happy with it, but don't want to collect each other. If Newgarden, of course, will have the benefit of the 4-lap-old softs, they'll start to fall away in around about 4 laps time. About 8 laps is when you start to get to the soft tyres part, where it just starts to fall away from you. It doesn't quite die. It's I mean, they can do upwards of 12 laps around here, but on the 12th lap you really will be driving on eggshells. But Newgarden will have the advantage at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see how long Sully can hold on to this lead, because he's got around about a half-second advantage over Newgarden. And well, Michael versus Matthew, and into Anthony Noakes, and we go to start lap 26. Yuri's coming at a rate of knots, 4.8 seconds behind on a set of brand new hard tyres. He's going to go to the end on. Behind you we've got Leroy, Jacko, Splinter, Jess, Rageman, Lesty and Bazza. We lost OKK, a crash at the exit of the Novell chicane. Speedquin equally got it wrong and had put it in the wall. The exit is a swimming pool, and Jake got collected on lap 1. With only 2 corners, not even 2 corners, completely crashed at the exit or the entry into Beau Rivage. With I believe it was with Leroy, but he will his course is already qualified for the playoffs. So a victor in all of the races so far. We've had Jess, Yuri, Jake and Leroy. They've already automatically qualified for, as I was talking about, the playoffs. So the playoffs have their own calendar to themselves as well. So we go, after we have the next 3 races, we go through 4 more races: Monza, Imola, Abu Dhabi, or Yas Maria, and Interlagos. They are your post-season, and then the top 4 in the playoffs will qualify, and the winner of the chase. So those that don't make it into top 8 in the championship, the lucky loser will go into the Championship 5, which takes place in Miami on the 6th of December later this year. So the championship running all the way through to early December, so make sure you tune in every Tuesday with me, Gareth Hall, in the commentary box. You can find me on Twitter at GT2_driving. Please follow me. I need friends. But, well, here we go. We've still got Newgarden closing in, but we've got Yuri now 2.5 seconds behind. Now, what does Yuri do in this position? Because although these guys in front have got a pit, they're probably not going to pit for maybe 4 laps. I mean, I would run this until about lap 32 if I was the pair of them, to give themselves tyres that will run to the end pretty nicely. So, but that means Yuri's. I mean, Yuri can sit behind them and pull out a deck chair and just enjoy it. Really, he doesn't have to fight because he's effectively a pit stop ahead of everyone. He's going to win this race in what will probably be a JACKOCAR record all time. I believe in Cup it's a 26 or 28 seconds. This should be upwards of 30 seconds of a victory, I would imagine. So no pressure, Yuri. Make sure you keep it on the black stuff, unless you want to go for a swim. I did say I was looking forward to a big crash. I did say I thought we'd have 4 finishes, so we've got 10 so far, so they're doing well. A little bit disappointed that we didn't see a full grid tonight, but what can you do about that? I'm sure there's some people out there that thought, I'm not racing Monaco, and there's some people out there that genuinely can't race Monaco, which is a shame, because to me it's actually a very enjoyable circuit, especially if you're on wheel, not so much if you're on a pad. The pad versus wheel decision will last forever. Pad does have ridiculous traction. It does have its benefits. It cannot turn around the Lowe's hairpin at all, unless you change your steering saturation. However, you do have the ability to perhaps get on the power a little bit earlier. You can run medium traction on the pad pretty easily. You can even run manual gears on the pad pretty easily, but of course these guys on the wheel, I mean, for me that's moved over to wheel a couple of years ago, I now can't race on the pad anymore. It's that honestly, it's like I've got 2 left hands. But you can see Yuri now sitting behind Newgarden. Now, is there communication? Let's have a look if there's communication in the speed team. Do the two in front just pull aside and let him go? I'm sure that's what Yuri's saying. Yuri's saying, don't put me under any unnecessary stress of having to overtake you, or perhaps collect the back of you. And into box comes the pair of them. There we go. So I think that might have been a little bit orchestrated, because that releases Yuri. Now Sully versus Newgarden. So this is the battle for P2 and P3. So onto a set of softs goes the pair of them. Sully, last pit box. Now who's going to get? It's pretty much a perfect pit in. So will we see Sully coming out in front? He's not. So there we go. Jumped in the pit box. So clearly, I'd say that was Sully not getting an optimal turn in, and Newgarden getting a perfect turn in. So that is Newgarden now up into P2, Sully down into P3, and he'll be gutted with that. Newgarden would be, I'm sure, jumping for joy. But now look after these tyres, boys. They've got to go 10 laps and get you to the end of this one. Leroy coming into Sandoval now. So, well, he's managed to recover back to a P4. But, I mean, he'll be, I'm sure, absolutely thrilled with recovery back to a P4 from there. It's a speed 1, 2, 3, 4. Jacko in P5 set to make another stop, which will be happening, I'm sure, in the next few laps. I said that Yuri be winning this race by about 30 seconds. It's actually down to 18. So clearly not being able to declare those guys a little bit earlier has hurt him a little bit, because he did have to sit behind them for about a lap and a half or so. So it's cost him about a good few, what, maybe a second or two. And now they're on brand new softs. They'll actually start to close in back on Yuri. But I mean, unless Newgarden goes at an absolutely electric rate of knots, he's going to have to take, what, 2.5 seconds off of Yuri a lap if he's to close in come the end of this one. And of course, once you've closed in, you've then got to overtake him. And Yuri Hasselager's not going to make that easy at all. He wants to pick up a second victory this season, to be only the first driver to pick up 2 wins in this season. And of course, he will add to his ever-growing list of record most wins in the Kia Series. Of course, Kia Series, the second of the JACKOCAR series. Of course, on Thursday we have got the race in the Cup Series. So we will be heading over to it's Spa this week. So yeah, it's the Belgian Grand Prix on Thursday with Owen Wyatt and Jack Ricketts. Ricketts. There we go. There's a word in there somewhere. Jack Ricketts in the box for that one. And you can find out more by going to @JACKOCAR on Twitter, where Mr. Ricketts himself, I'm sure, will be able to tell you anything about the league that you'd like to know. Whether that's getting involved, perhaps being a reserve, looking towards next season. And, well, looking towards this race, Newgarden's not doing too bad on those softs, is he? Already from 17 down to 14.5. So Yuri looking after those hard tyres. Well, let's have a look. Is he? As I'm just going to do a quick look on his dash, looking down, it looks as though, I don't like to get up the MFD because I think it's cheating as a commentator, but I will do. Yeah. Fuel light on for Mr. Hasselager. So whilst it can be a little bit of a bug, and sometimes it doesn't show, it doesn't always show the right information, let's say. We know that with a lack of safety cars, people tend to underfuel around here, and with underfueling comes lift and coasting. And we've seen it in VSL a couple of races ago in Monaco, where lifting and coasting for Yuri, and especially for Tier 2's Matt Davis, was so extraordinary that it needed to be done for about 5 laps of lift and coast and driving around in 8th gear. So you can see, yeah, it's a very early upshift from Yuri, so he is very much, let's see, quick upshifts. Yeah, he's not maxing out the throttle, staying very much in the green in the rev limiter. He's down to 12.3 seconds, so he's got the time to recover. He's got the time to just look after these tyres and look after the fuel. But Newgarden will have the bit between his teeth now, because he'll be able to, every now and then he might just get a flash of gold just up ahead of him. And if he had a slightly longer neck, he could peek over the barrier there and he'd see him just going through the exit of Portier. But through the Grand Hotel hairpin, or the Lowe's hairpin, now down into Portier. And if you go straight over there, it's effective. It's a sheer drop into the ocean. So if you want to go for a dip afterwards, down into the Mediterranean, just off the left-hand side of you there. Now down into the Nouvelle Chicane. Nice run there through from Matt. He's running low on battery, which you want to conserve. I know that Sully now 2.4 seconds behind, but you don't want to push it too hard, because with Yuri fuel saving, yeah, still fuel saving, it's now down to 10 seconds, so 33.39 done. As just to find out what else is going on down through the field, we all go down to Jacko. So Jacko's closing in on Jess. He's just stopped here, so he's made his stop for of course he took those softs all the way, took those hards for pretty much the majority of the race. He's now onto a set of softs, so he's now racing Jess for P6. And potentially even Leroy, if he can clear Jess quickly. He's bringing Rageman with him. As there we go, changing position in the tunnel. Nicely done, Jacko. As Jacko gets it done, and now up into P6 on the circuit. Knocks Jess down into P7. Rageman in P8. Lesty P9. Not a race to remember from Lesty. He did say he hadn't had any practice, and unfortunately it's not gone his way. But Jacko now 5 seconds behind Leroy. Leroy, however, has just made a stop onto a brand new set of softs. He's got Lesty for company, and in fact, Lesty has just got Splinter up ahead, as that's a cut there from Leroy. But this is not going to help. Blue flags are out. Blue flags are out. Oh, as Lesty gets out of the way, as Leroy's going to look to go around the outside, because these two are battling for position. Splinter, of course, 14 lap old hards, and Leroy is going to think about the move to the inside. They're going to lock tyres. Just about get away with that one. Splinter was thinking about closing the door, and Leroy had already committed to the move. So Leroy back up into P4, Splinter P5, Jacko now in P6, 4.2 seconds behind. We'll be smelling that battle for P4 and P5. We've got a yellow in sector 1. Is that for Jess? It looks as though it is for Jess. It's just gone slowly through Saint-Devote. We'll see if we get a good camera angle, see if she's suffered with any wing damage around there. She's on a brand new set of softs, so yeah, so she'd just come out of the pit lane, slightly slow, I'd imagine, on the exit of the pit box, and brought out the yellows ever so slightly. She's in P7 with Rageman 4.7 seconds behind, so no worries for her. So as I was saying about Thursday evening, the Cup Series, the faster tier in JACKOCAR will be racing at Spa-Francorchamps in the Ardennes Forest of Belgium. So make sure you tune in for that. You've got the likes of Speed Iceman, Casper, of course, Corey. Can he finally hook up a race this season and get into the postseason, or will he be consigned to the chase? We will find out. And of course, there's still plenty more to come from the Cup Series drivers. The likes of Jake, the likes of Jamie. We've got, well, we've had a pretty special season so far. I think Jacko and Owen have been saying it's the best season so far, best regular season so far. Looking forward to that one. Spa's not my best circuit, not really one I'm particularly looking forward to. And of course, pretty much a 70% chance that you see rain around Spa, so it's got its own microclimate. As there we go, Splinter and Jamie go side by side, and Jacko clears Jamie. So just missed that as I was looking down at my notes very quickly, but Jacko, another move in the tunnel. So very much a man that likes to get things done in the dark is Mr. Jack Ricketts. He clears Splinter, and he can now close in on the fight for P4. So whilst that's there, I'll just see what it is for. So it's 3 seconds for Leroy, who now sets the fastest lap. So a playoff point coming the way of Leroy if he holds on to that one. Jacko, I'm sure, will be wanting that, but he's got to close in 6 seconds if he is to hunt down Leroy's P4 finish. But Newgarden now only 5.1 behind Yuri. So is Yuri still short shifting? No, it looks as though he's back up to pace. So is he looking after the fuel? No, it's still a little bit of an early shift, but no, he is revving out here, so looking much more positive for Yuri on the timings. 5.2 seconds, so there you go. That's what happens when you pretty much have a pit stop window to do some fuel saving in. He could afford to be, I imagine, what was about a lap under, maybe even a little bit more, or a lap and a half under. But as I said at the start of this one, safety cars in Monaco really are at a premium. I mean, you're more likely to get a safety car at a circuit you don't need one at, like Monza, than you're at Monaco, which makes no sense whatsoever. But here we go, lap 36 of 39. We've only got a few laps left to go. There's 3 laps left to go at the start of the next one, and it is Yuri from Newgarden from Sully, Leroy all the way back, 41 seconds behind, and well, you can see Yuri now closing in on Bazza, I believe, for a second time. So it would show you that it will go back down to tyres. We'll show you the lead, gap to the leader. So actually, no, it's only a lap. So it would be here we go. Bazza's, I'm sure, going to pull it inside and goes a lap down. So lap 37 of 39. I do apologise. There's a couple of breaks in. I'm looking at my notes to try and think about things to talk about because we've not actually got too much happening. However, we roll, we move, and just as I say that, we've got Leroy in the wall, who's flat spinning his way out of it, and he's gonna yeah, we've got nothing happening as Leroy goes round, and let's see, is there front wing damage? Looks as though he's got away with it, so he might have just, I imagine what he's done there is just clipped the rear right on the inside of Portier and turned the car around. But what that has done is brought Jack into play. So Jacko currently sitting there very now. I did say he needed to get within 6 seconds. It's now what, 4, well, he needs to make up 6 seconds. He's now down to 4 seconds. So if he can make up 1 second on Leroy, he will take P4 away from him. So Jacko, he's got some work to do because Leroy's going to be putting some laps in now. He's built that lead back out to 4.5. Jacko, he's going to basically have to spend the next 3 laps burning some battery and burning whatever fuel and tyres he's got left. So 37 to 39. Yuri from Newgarden from Sully. The gap is held at 5 seconds for Yuri, so he'll be happy with that one. Doesn't need to worry too much about the race win. Newgarden Sully, Hazelagger in P4 for Mr. Leroy. Jacko, Splinter, Jess, Robin, and Matt Lester, and of course Bazza in P10. We lost OKK Quinn and Jake very early on in this one, and well, for the rest of this race, we'll watch out to see if Jacko. Sorry, my apologies. I'm sure neither one of you wants to be associated with the other in that way. But Jacko now 6.5 behind. So Leroy has decided to get on it. I say that Leroy to get on. He's already qualified for the playoffs. It doesn't make any difference. So he might as well pit and go for the fastest lap again. But I believe he holds it anyway. So just double check. He does. So there's no front wing. He's just going to try and... I mean, he's got the fastest lap by 2 seconds at the moment. So what he's done there is just lose himself 2 positions. Yuri's going to battle him for the fastest lap, which is going to give Newgarden... the lead. Matt Rosemond, who's never won a race before, is now leading on the last lap, making his way around the Monte Carlo circuit here in Monaco, one of the most prestigious races in F1. He's going to hold off Speed Sully, who sits behind him. It's still Yuri, who is unfortunately not able to go for a fastest lap because it's on the last lap of the race. So what a shame. It may be a tyre issue there from Yuri, but that's going to promote Newgarden up into a P1. Will this be the day for Matt Rosemond? Will this be his first win, the final hurdle that he's had to climb? We've seen Jess win her first race. Will we see Newgarden win his? We've got a yellow in Sector 2. That is for a Rage Man. Oh, it's Bazza in the wall. So Bazza out. Looks as though he's suffering with this one, but we're going to stick with Newgarden because he has got, what, 6 more corners left to go after this one. If he is to come home and pick up a victory, he is taking it so carefully. He knows that the checkered flag beckons for him. At 39 of 39 here, Speed Sully is going to make it a P2. Speed Y Racer is going to make it a Speed P3. And we've got Matt Rosemond rounding the final corner for the final time to take his first ever race league victory. What a race there, Newgarden. Fantastic. Well done, Matt. He takes victory here. He makes his way into the playoffs. chaos. We've got Sully, a best result of the season in P2. Yuri comes around Anthony Nogues and will take home a P3 and will be, I'm pretty sure, very happy with that. He's going to try and flat spin. This is going to go wrong. He's going to try and burn out across the line. Here we go. He does do a burnout across the line, just about. Jacko is going to come home in P4. Splinter is trying to close in, but you can see the gap looks as though it's going to go in favour of Jacko. It's it's pretty much nailed on for Jacko here. He's got the fresh tyres. Splinter is actually holding on from Leroy. Leroy is trying to close in on Splinter. It's going to be close down to the end. We've got Jacko who's going to come up to the line very, very shortly. We'll just tune in for that. Mr. Ricketts himself kicking the rear end out of Raskas and into Anthony Nogues. Leroy and Splinter are going to go side by side surely across the line, because Leroy's going to have the bit between his teeth. He's going to have the battery. Will he have the speed? He doesn't. Splinter's saved it until the line, and that's ending the Monaco Grand Prix. And nothing happened for about 70% of the race, and then it all happened at the end, doesn't it? And that's exactly what always happens. What Jacko gets in-game race driver of the day, but it is Speed Newgarden, the first time race winner here in the Kia series, and well done to Matt Roseman. Truly deserved. He's been so close so many times, and this time he's finally that beautiful bride, isn't he? Well done to Speed Newgarden. He hoists aloft the one of the only modelled trophies in the game of the Monte Carlo circuit. Speed will be absolutely delighted. Team Speed Esports, a top 3. Leroy, fastest lap of the race as well. So playoff points going to Speed. All the playoff points will be going to Yuri. All the stage points will be going to Yuri, but it is Newgarden that wins in 49 minutes and 52 seconds from P7 on the grid to the victory. What a result for Newgarden, and an absolute nailed-on driver of the day. There will be a poll, but if Newgarden doesn't win, then I will be chastising you all. Don't worry. Newgarden wins from Sully. Y Racer, Jacko will be happy to recover back to P4. Splinter, Leroy, Jess, Robin in P8, Leslie in P9, Bazza in P10, rounding out the field with OKK, Quinn, Jake, unfortunately, all succumbing to the walls here at the Monte Carlo circuit. Driver of the day of my choice, well, we're going to go, well, you're actually going to go for the top 4. So I'm actually going to go for Newgarden, Sully, Yuri and Jacko will be my 4 for this one. You can't really... all 4 of them deserved it in their own special way. Yuri was supreme tonight. Sully having a fantastic race, and unfortunately it looks as though might have lost the race victory with that pit lane, the soft positions in the pit lane. Newgarden, of course, absolutely massive. Well, I'm sure we'd be delighted to pick that victory up. And Jacko, when it all looks as though it was all going to fall apart, with a puncture on lap 1 to pick up a P4, although almost a minute down, is a healthy haul of points, which I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with. So that was an interesting race. It was a Monaco race, but it was an interesting race. But that's never a bad thing. It's never a dull moment here in the Kia series. But of course, plenty more to come. We've got, of course, over to Jeddah, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix next week, which I actually think is worse than this. I'd drive Monaco 100 times before I drive Jeddah. But what a strange season we're having, and that is a 5th winner in 5 races. So we were expecting to see Yuri go for another victory, but he doesn't need it. He's already qualified. You might as well open the door for others to get in, and so the speed communication comes in clutch once again. So I'm sure Matt will be sending some. Well, to be fair, I would say sending some English lager over to Belgium. Don't do that. You want to do the other vice versa. You want Yuri to send some over to celebrate for Matt. But I'm sure the guys will be absolutely delighted with how that's gone. But what a race we've had. Hopefully you've all enjoyed it. Hopefully I've just about managed to keep you entertained throughout it with my dulcet tones. And we will be bringing you plenty more this season to come. We've got 3 more races left in the regular season, 4 more races in the postseason. Of course, that all-elusive Championship 5, which they all want to get to in a couple of months' time. 6th of December, final race of the season, Championship 5, when only 5 drivers can win the championship. So far, we've got Jake, Yuri, Leroy, Jess, and now Matt Roseman that have qualified for the playoffs, which will start in a couple of weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, I believe, in as I quickly flick over from the Calendar Inn Cup to the Calendar Inn Kia in Monza. Circuit over in, 30 minutes north of Milan in Italy. Temple of Speed. I'm rambling now, so I will start to wrap up. But just for OKK, I know he tunes in at the end. Drivers of the day was the top 4. It was Newgarden, Sully, it was Yuri, and it was Jacko. So, but it is Newgarden that wins that one, regardless of whatever the poll says. Newgarden, definitely driver of the day today. From P7 to the victory, regardless of how he got it, fantastic result for him. Thank you very much for joining me. My name's been Gareth Ford. I've been your commentator for this one and for the rest of the Kia series. Make sure you tune in on Thursday evening for the race around Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for the Cup Series with Jack Ricketts and Owen White in the commentary box for that one. So there's plenty more JACKOCAR to catch up with this week. Make sure you do the good stuff you do on the socials. Retweet everything you see from JACKOCAR, like and share the video when it goes live, and of course subscribe if you're new. It's chaos, but we love it. That is JACKOCAR. This is JACKOCAR. I've been Gareth Hall. Good night.